for the listeners, Nick was struck by an HBR article that said 5.6% of a CEO's time is with the customers, and thought, hey, that seems really low. Let me go do my own analysis. I think it came in for you at about 17%.
That's right. Yeah.
And you have met, based on the math, about 500 plus customers in a year.
Yes.
Intentional?
Totally. I mean, it's probably a little bit of my addiction too. Right. I love it. So, and it's a snowball. You can imagine the more you meet more customers, and then you know more customers, and they're more open to meeting you, and you want to meet them more. Right. And but yeah, it's intentional that I spend a lot of time with customers for sure. In fact, I even color code my calendar, and red means customer and prospect time, and green means employee time, and visually I can see in any week how that's balanced. And I actually, another thing I do, which might be helpful for folks, is to keep the discipline. Every week I send an email to the company about what's happening in the company and also what's happening in my personal life, and I kind of share my schedule for the week, and I list out the customers I'm meeting every week. And so it's practically useful because people know, Nick's meeting this customer, that's great to know. But also it sends a message of, okay, Nick's very customer centric, and hopefully more people are as well.
They role model, you're the role model, they kind of rally to that as well.
Yeah, I hope so. I think we have that as a company.
I was just struck with that last answer where you said, I share some of my personal, which I love. That's pretty rare for a CEO. What gave you the courage to go out there like that and say, maybe I had a real rough week, maybe I blew out my knee and I'm going to tell everybody about it, or tell me the calculus in your own head of, I'm going to start putting stuff out there that's not around the metrics or objectives?
It's a very, very good question, very timely actually. So I've been on a journey, I'd say it's probably realistically maybe a 13, 14-year journey. So my first kind of big job was I was running a division of a company called Symantec.
Sure. And
then after that I was a CEO of a company, and then now CEO of Gainsight. And in that process, from running that division to now, I think I've been working on more and more transparency and vulnerability. I think that the catalyst was probably two specific things happened. Number one, at this first kind of Symantec, this company I was at, great company, I was running kind of a team, and I always enjoyed running teams, so I was trying to figure out how I could have the culture of my own team, right? Like, you're in a big company, there's this company culture, but you need to create your own little culture. And so I started this thing, at the time it was actually called the Monday morning quarterback email, because you and I are both football fans, and eventually it turned into what I call Mehtaphysical, for little play on words, Musings, Mehtaphysical Musings. I started this thing where I send a weekly email to the team about what's happening in work, and what's happening on the personal side. And I've literally done that for 16, 17 years.
Oh my gosh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, every single week, basically, maybe a couple of vacations here and there, but all of it. And what happened, the reason this happened is I started it, people started resonating to it, not a lot of leaders did it. I talk about my personal life and my work life. And then actually the second catalyst was I joined a group that's called YPO. It's a CEO peer group, you might have heard of it. And actually, YPO is about kind of really the personal side of your life and how you can be a more powerful leader by being more authentic to who you are. Started working with a coach and things like that, and really leaned into vulnerability. And so my emails went from, here's what's happening at work, to maybe one picture of the kids, or talking about my lowly Pittsburgh Steelers football team, which isn't doing well now, to then eventually getting to the point where when I go to conferences or I send my email to the team, I'll talk about feeling lonely or sad, or my dad who had cancer, fortunately he's recovered now, or everything. Like, there's very little that I'm not willing to talk about with almost anyone. I feel safe around everyone, and that's been this sort of journey. And what I've realized, and I hope other people see it, is vulnerability is scary. It's scary to be open with people, but the world loves it. Brene Brown, who does the TED Talk, she's came up with this, and the world loves it. And honestly, they respect you more, they trust you more, they're more open with you, and it's been this virtuous cycle. And I'll give you one anecdote where we had a company, every year we get together, kind of bring the company together, kind of sales kickoff, but we bring everyone. And I decided at the end of the kind of all hands, I did the normal, hey, here's the company's goals and here's how we're doing and rah, rah, rah. And then at the end I talked about, actually some of my challenges as a kid, when I was very lonely as a kid, and I was very vulnerable at the end of this. And then it was, people were really moved, but then other people throughout that same event from our company got up and talked about their challenges. And one person got up and she was speaking, I still remember so well, and she's speaking, she talked about how she has a lot of anxiety, and she got anxious on stage, and then everyone was so supportive. Love it. And so it's a virtuous cycle, and it just grows and grows.